The carpeting was stained with blood.
It was the same room where Nicky Hilton, years before, had slashed his wrist.
Every card is a picture. It's a full story.
My children had saw the Virgin Mary, and I saw her myself, was looking at everybody from the sky.
From the boundaries of the universe to the depth of your soul. Embark on a journey through the unknown and unexplained as we explore mysteries, magic, and miracles. Hello and welcome. I'm Patrick McNee. Miraculous visions of the Virgin Mary and reading of personal energies through tarot cards are mysteries we'll investigate later in the show. First, let's explore a different sort of apparition. Ghosts have been defined as manifestations of persistent personal energy. They may haunt places they enjoyed while alive, or the place where they met their death, especially if that death was violent. Let's take a look at an interesting case in Los Angeles.
The Hollywood sign is one of the most readily identifiable landmarks in all of show business, but it's also the site of tragedy, mystery, and haunted intrigue. Peg Entwistle was a promising young actress in the 1930s who came to Hollywood, as did so many of her peers, with stars in her eyes. Her dazzling success as a teenager in Boston led her inevitably out west to the land that glitters. But despite bit parts in such films as 13 Weeks with Myrna Loy, Peg Entwistle's career never fully blossomed. On September the 18th, 1932, distraught, she climbed the steep slopes of Mount Lee to the great Hollywood Land sign, named after Max Sennett's ill-fated real estate venture. She found a ladder left by a workman and climbed to the top of the 50-foot high letter H. She must have stood there overlooking Hollywood and the studios for what seemed like eternity, and then leapt to her death. There are those who claim her tormented soul still haunts the Hollywood hills to this very day. Even in death, she couldn't find peace.
I knew him as a young man, Nicky Hilton. I was with him on his honeymoon to Liz Taylor, and he was about the strangest, weirdest kid I'd ever met. The Jimmy Dean of millionaires, you know? The people tell us Hilton committed suicide here. And then I kind of peeked in that library when she mentioned it, and I walked down by myself, away from the crowd, the buffet, and the movie, whatever was going on, and I peeked in, and my God, there he was sitting at the desk. I mean, it's you know, made your hair stand on end. I kind of bolted out, you know. I can't explain why later on I thought I saw Groucho Marx there. Maybe it was my week for stars, I don't know. But it was his vision or apparition, his look, you know, that look he had. He looked just like Jimmy Dean.
Sometime later, we had been invited over to the house, and our hostess had taken me upstairs and shown me the bedroom. The carpeting was stained with blood.
It was the same room where Nicky Hilton, years before, had slashed his wrists. And the strange thing was, no matter how many times the carpeting had been replaced, the bloodstains kept coming back. While we were examining the carpet, our hostess's daughter called to the room on the intercom. Something really strange was happening in the kitchen. Well, we rushed down there wondering what could be causing such a fright. And something was definitely shaking the liquor cabinet. I mean, from the inside, we thought maybe a cat had gotten in there, but after our hostess unlocked it, all the shaking stopped and there was nothing unusual at all about it.
She then closed the bar and locked it, and everything went crazy. Liquid came pouring out, bottles were shaking. I was scared to death. He and I looked at each other. We were both panic-stricken.
Oh, it's frightening, especially the noise and rattling and shaking of bottles, you know, actually hearing something. And you think maybe it's a tremor, an earthquake, or what, or some kind of a gag. Or, you know, like right on cue, things would happen constantly in that house.
An apport is an object which materializes out of thin air or moves through something solid. This phenomenon can be caused by mediums and is also a type of poltergeist activity. Most apports are small objects, such as coins and rings, but there have been cases involving flowers, books, and even live animals. Hindu swamis and holy men are known for producing precious jewelry, religious items, and food. A shuffle of the cards, a cut of the deck, a night of poker, perhaps. Not likely. Each of these very special cards has a different meaning. Can tarot cards really tell us about our lives? We decided to find out. Here's Susan O'Leary.
Since the 14th century, tarot cards have been used to foresee the future. It was practiced in hiding, away from the condemning eye of the church. But today, tarot readers can be found on just about every street corner. We wanted to find out if tarot readings can really tell our future. So we went for a reading in Berkeley, California. Vicki Noble, well-known author and creator of Mother Peace Tarot, shed some light on the art of tarot reading. I started out by asking Vicki where she first became interested in tarot reading and why.
A friend brought me a tarot deck. She had seen it and thought I'd be interested and brought it over, and I started to look at it, the weight deck, a traditional, normal tarot deck, the most popular, I think. And I thought I saw the goddess in it. I thought the whole tradition of the goddess was in it. So I became very fascinated with it, even obsessed. I worked with the cards every day for hours.
When you decided to do your own tarot cards, why? Were the other ones not what you wanted? Did they not fulfill everything?
Well, I thought they were really wonderful in their own way. They taught me everything, you know, in that period of time. But they had a kind of an overlay that started to seem negative. And I started to be very aware of what I would say is a patriarchal bias, or the bias of the male mind behind the design of the cards. And so we decided to remedy that, Karen Vogel and I, in making the Mother Peace cards. We wanted to bring our own bias to it and bring some kind of a balance. So, of course, we added enormous numbers of female images. That was the first thing. And we made the cards round. Nobody had done that. Having this many positive, healing female images, images of women of all ages and from all different cultures and races, it brings us what we lack in our culture in America right now, which is positive, powerful, empowered images of women, sacred women. You know, we don't have that except nuns and the Virgin Mary, and for those of us who didn't grow up Catholic, we don't even really have that. Every card is a picture. It's a full story. And in looking at the picture and letting the feelings and the information and the thoughts come, that's really all a person needs to know. And really, I've worked with kids, you know, 8-year-old kids who are just fabulous at reading the cards because they do it in an unmediated way. It hasn't occurred to them they need a book. So they just look at them and they read the story, and then they apply it to their lives or to whoever they're reading, and it's perfect. It's like right out of my book. I don't like to use the cards for asking things that are too far in the future or asking things that have a possibility of other events changing the direction, you know, in the next 6 months or the next year or two. I find that they're not so accurate, for me at least, that way, maybe for somebody else. I find them to be very accurate for helping people in the moment with a larger reality that they haven't seen all the pieces of, that they haven't really seen into. So I tend to use the cards, being a healer, more for seeing deeply into the situation in the present and helping someone to access what you would call their intuition rather than trying to tell them specific events in the future. So I never say, you know, a tall, dark stranger is going to come into your life, but somebody might, because that person would have a psychic ability to see through the cards that way.
I asked Vicki if she would do a tarot reading for me.
Aries is up for you in all three of these cards.
Okay.
So that's a very important message. Aries means new beginnings. It means you're starting something in your life right now, or life is starting something in you right now. There's some way that things are brand new. And that must be what the anxiety is about. You know, something is brand new. So the atmosphere is that it's a big event and it's fate, and the wheel is turning, and there's nothing really to be done about that. And then the challenge for you is the magician. And the magician has to do with taking your power and acknowledging your power and being in it and using it in some way to make decisions, make choices. So it's sort of like, in a certain sense, these three cards are the heart of the reading. They're very important. We could take all the others away and this would be adequate. So the really good news is what's waiting for you in the near future, the Justice card. You have certain things going on that are that have to do with your emotions, and you have the wisdom that you need, and you have friends who are supportive. The most important thing is that very soon things are going to fall into place for you in a way that's going to feel just right on a cosmic level. The Justice card has to do with natural law and everything coming out the way it's supposed to, so that it feels fair and it feels satisfying and it feels like you're getting what you deserve.
I wouldn't live your life waiting for the predictions of the cards to come true, but tarot readings can give some interesting insight and a different perspective on your life.
According to Christian teachings, Mary was blessed among women for giving birth to the one that would take away the sins of the world and bring peace to all. Well, a woman in Southern California claims to see visions of the Virgin Mary and passes along her message of love and guidance. Jim Romanovich investigates.
Just north of California City, thousands flock to a small valley in the Mojave Desert to catch a vision of the Virgin Mary. Faithfully, believers and non-believers come the 13th of every month for spiritual transformation and healing from prayers and blessings of the Mother of Jesus herself.
We came here in August. This is our 5th time being here today. In August we came and I didn't see anything, but my children had saw the Virgin Mary and they cried. And then we came back again in September and we saw the Virgin Mary, and I saw her myself. I saw her today. She was real small. She was looking at everybody from the sky.
While some of the faithful can see the apparition, the image and messages from the Blessed Mother, known as Our Lady of the Rock, are given to Maria Paula, a pious Catholic from Mexico who first saw the vision in 1989. Her meeting with the Holy Mother was foreseen by her 3-year-old daughter, who at the time was in intensive care with leukemia. She told her mother to look for a sign in the mountains.
I started climbing the mountain and saw a rock. I was going to step on the rock. I wasn't wearing shoes since I wanted to climb quickly. But this rock wasn't a rock, it was a snake. I heard a very nice sound like a fine fabric. Birds were singing, and when I was going to turn around, I heard her voice say, "No, don't look back, only look at me, and you're going to be safe. I am the Lady of the Rock, the Queen of Peace of Southern California." She came on a cloud when I saw her. When I looked over there, the sun was so beautiful. Behind her, a bright ray of light. I could see her face so clearly, her eyes, brown hair, and rosy cheeks. Her nose and mouth were the most perfect things you could see.
At the apparition site, people line up according to their illness, physical, spiritual, and even terminal. Some of those who come to see Maria Paula and hear the messages from the Virgin Mary have claimed miraculous healing. Maria de Mesa, a registered nurse, says her lupus was cured.
Maria Paula prayed over me, and then after that I told Maria Paula, because I have lupus, and then she told me, no lupus. I said, Mama Paula, I have lupus, and she keeps on insisting that I don't have the lupus.
Another woman, Frances Pondo, has experienced miraculous healing.
After I got out of the hospital and I was a little strong enough to come, I came. And they brought me by wheelchair, and I came 3 times. And after that, I've been coming.
Did a physical change come over her while she was in the presence of Maria Paula?
The first time when the wheelchair, no. The second time, I was able to stand. And then Maria Paula, she prayed on me, she touched me, and I felt heat. And then after that, I started getting better slowly.
People who claim to see visions of the Virgin Mary or other saintly apparitions are put through rigorous testing to determine their authenticity. Father Juan Santillan of Our Lady Help of Christians Church describes the Church's position on these cases.
Normally, when it's brought to the particular priest, the individual priest, he will have to see, first of all, that person, how's their family life? Psychologically, their stability, their emotional life. Then what are the things that begin to occur that might give indication that there's a possibility of it being on the part of the divine? And normally you'll find that sometimes humans, there's a tremendous need for attention. There's a tremendous need of being someone and to be in the limelight. There is so much confusion. There is so much neglect. There is so much abandonment. There is so much maltreatment of humans against humans that humans need some of that little supernatural, maybe to make them come back to their senses.
According to belief, the apparition is seen by the devout, or those the Virgin Mary chooses. The Blessed Mother also allows herself to be photographed as a gift.
But then when you have a Polaroid and other regular cameras and different Polaroids, and they're all focusing on the same section, and each one has a different picture of that reality, then you can't help but think, well, something might be happening here.
The strength of personal faith in Maria Paula's healing abilities are tested almost every day. Edward Martinez came from Arizona to confide in Father Juan's terminal diagnosis of cancer.
8 weeks ago, I guess it was, I was diagnosed as having a very rare cancer. It's called thymoma. It's a fast-spreading cancer. And they told me that if I didn't go through the chemotherapy and radiation, that I probably had about 6 months or less. I had just about almost given up. I mean, and I'm not the kind of guy that gives up, but when they told me up there that that's all the time I had left, it's kind of hard to take.
Whether he will be healed remains to be seen.
Feel the heat in your legs. Watch it come up.
This is coming up.
It's coming up.
Yes.
The heat is coming up?
Yes.
You're right?
Yeah. Yes.
Visions of the Virgin Mary have been occurring for centuries. Only in this century have they become documented and officially approved by the Church. Though Our Lady of the Rock is not yet recognized by the Church, the surprising aspect of this supernatural experience is that the message is almost always the same. It's up to us to decide if we want to listen to it or not.
Repent, my children, because time is short. Our Blessed Mother says we should be careful with our actions, for this will bring you to salvation or the loss of your soul. Let's go with caution, my brothers. Clean up the confusion of our human hearts.
A vision of the Virgin Mary comes to Maria Paula 1 to 3 times a day. When I interviewed her, she claimed the image appeared twice and a statue of the Virgin wept.
I have to, at this point, play the devil's advocate. I can't say whether I believe it or not believe it. There's many things that I'm beginning to accept. On a truthful basis, I don't need visions. I don't need to see angels. I don't need to see the Blessed Mother. I don't need to see our Lord. my faith is already set, and that's all I need.
Stigmata is the spontaneous appearance of blood from parts of the body that generally match the wounds of Christ on the cross. According to historical records, St. Francis of Assisi was the first person to experience this bleeding from his hands and feet in the year 1224. By 1894, over 320 cases of stigmatics had been reported, according to a French medical professor. Recent cases include Padre Pio, a well-known Italian monk who died in 1968, and an English woman named Jane Hunt, whose hands began bleeding in 1985. The Earth and the universe have many wonders yet to be discovered. Keep an open mind. You may discover some yourself. I'm Patrick McNee. Join me next time for more mysteries, magic, and miracles.